Hello, I'm James Pern. I've been cataloguing the autumn sale of paintings. It's a terrific sale. We've got a lot of prints in the sale, followed by some good watercolours and oil paintings. Incredibly diverse, all sorts of artists, values all over the place. It's quite easy to buy something really interesting for £50 or £80, or you can actually go upmarket and spend 2, 3, 4, 5,000. The choice is yours. Let's start with the oil paintings. Largest picture in the sale is the portrait here after Sir Peter Lely of Letitia, Countess of Radnor. The original was painted in 1665. There are a number of other versions known. This is one of them. There is another version at Lanhydrock in Cornwall. From the 18th century, we've got this portrait of Elizabeth, Countess of Craven. We believe it was painted round about 1780. We're not absolutely sure who painted it, but I think we can safely say that it was someone who was clearly influenced by George Rumney and even Ozias Humphrey, one of his compatriots. Fascinating sitter, aristocratic sitter, had a fantastic intellect, playwright, author, writer. A colourful private life came with it. She was a fantastic traveller. She abandoned her husband in 1783 to go to Eastern Europe and the Near East. Came back a few years later, remarried, this time to a German aristocrat. So, you know, she was, I think, a big news story, one could say, in that later Georgian period. From the 19th century, and we've got a lot of 19th century pictures in this sale, but I selected this little study mainly because I just thought it was such a good example of the artist. He's normally a bit dull, but here he is at his best. It's an artist called James Herbert Snell. Normally does these slightly dour English sort of landscapes, but here you see him suddenly attempting to do something a little bit more impressionist in style. He, after about 1905, when he visited France, he suddenly begins to look at landscape in a different way. He looks at the way the light and shade intermingles with trees. He works out the doors and this sort of thing. And I think this study is delightful. It just works. What's it worth? £1,500–1,800, something like that. Here is a watercolour from around about the same period by an Australian war artist. It's a scene at Le Havre. It shows camouflaged hospital ships taking Australian troops back to England, wounded Australian troops, sadly. And it's just a lovely record. And I think this sort of First World War type of image is something we're going to see a lot more of in the next year or so with the coming anniversary of the Great War. And on a more contemporary note, got to have a bit of colour somewhere, haven't we? And we've got an absolutely typical John Bellamy here. And this is John Bellamy at his best, really. Lovely, vibrant colours. He loved sort of painting the Scottish fishing community, and all his works revolve around life on the edge of the Firth of Forth and the east coast of Scotland. What are we hoping for this? Maybe £1,000–1,200. So I hope anyway with this small group I've just given you some sort of little taster, shall we say, to the sale, and I will very much hope that you can come to the sale. I hope even more that you'll bid at the sale. The sale's on view 2 or 3 days prior. You can see it all on our website. And if you want an online bid, that's no problem. Again, if you can do it straight through our own website, that would be appreciated. Can I say I will look forward to receiving all your bids.